We are in our Airbnb in
Colmar,
Colmar.
France.
Yes. Might seem a little strange. We did Strasbourg and Colmar in the same trip since they're both Alsace region towns famous for their Christmas markets, but they were surprisingly different. I would say Strasbourg is more like a small city, complete with, rail running through town and just huge crowds of people and
Panhandlers
and department stores and
right.
it was like a small city. And Colmar, and it's more like a big town. It still has more of a town feel to it. Also very crowded, but everything was on a smaller scale.
And no panhandlers that we could see.
But the Christmas markets were a lot of fun. We enjoyed them. There were a lot of different Christmas markets here. There were just the standard, lots of food, lots of hot wine. If you're into hot wine, Christmas markets are your thing.
Yep.
But they also had Christmas markets dedicated to local crafts, people who made things. They had one dedicated to children.
They had one dedicated to gourmet chefs that had, special food they would make for you.
So, a lot of variety. It was interesting. It wasn't as over-the-top decorated as Strasbourg, but still very nicely decorated, very pretty. A thing that we also noticed here is they did a lot of light shows on buildings, cathedrals, things like that, where they would project images on there. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We saw some museums while we were here, which normally is, kind of a yawner, but the first one was a chocolate museum, and that took you through the history of chocolate and how it's made, and it ended with a virtual presentation of some chefs, each making one of their favorite chocolate treats. And then at the end, after you watched that, you open up your little packet and you had one of each of the treats, and they were scrumptious. Mm-hmm. They were very good. Later we came back and we did a chocolate workshop where we made our own chocolate treats. They had the chocolate all prepared for us, but then we did called the artisan work. The next morning we did a toy museum. Think of it almost like the history of modern toys. It didn't go back to primitive toys, but it went back several hundred
early
years.
1900s.
Yeah, but it wasn't like rocks and sticks.
No.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Kathy beat me at the largest Quarto game we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And we got to play some video games and see Barbies from all eras and marionette.
Marionettes, puppetry. They had a whole section on dolls. Apparently this company in France, I want to say it was France, called Bella, used to make dolls for kids. The kind that had the hair grew out of the head, different colored eyes, different colored skin. And they started with 12 people and ended up with a company of over 1,000 people. And they started in the 30s, I might be wrong at that, but they lasted until 1984. So they were a big to-do in France.
We also saw a huge Playmobil exhibit with all sorts of stuff laid out.
Yeah.
It was a fun museum. It was inexpensive, and it was a great way to get out of the rain. Unfortunately, it has rained almost the entire time we've been in Colmar, and we've just bundled up. Kathy's carried an umbrella, and we've kind of gone out in it and dealt with it. But consequently, we've taken a lot less video because it's hard to get good video in the rain. So
it's more like a Seattle rain, so everybody is still out and about. It's not like wind is gushing and torrential rainfall that we see in Houston. So
we went on a boat ride. There's a little canal in town, and they have little boats that go up and down the canal. It wasn't a very long boat ride, and you had to go under some bridges that were quite low, but it was a fun ride. It was a different perspective on the town, and the boatsman was amusing. Mm-hmm. So
would put it on their boats and drive here to the right to those docks. They would then clean the fish and sell it. That's why still today those docks are called fishermen docks, even if we do not have any fishermen anymore, at least professional ones. We have unprofessional one, but between you and me, I have been a fisherman. I saw them fish. They are not close to catching anything.
We wandered around town a lot, saw an old water tower that was all made of stone and brick and stuff. That was pretty neat. And
It looked medieval, actually. And we went into a couple of churches. They have a, I don't know, their main church. It was just, you know, spectacular, like a lot of European churches. So,
yeah, it wasn't as grand as Notre Dame or anything like that, but it was still, it was a very pretty church. And that was fun to do. Mostly we did a lot of shopping. We didn't buy much, but yeah, we went into a lot of shops. We did buy a lot.
we did buy a lot of cheese.
Yeah, well,
Oh my
and by we mean Kathy bought a lot of cheese. We also bought chocolates. We went to some artisan chocolatiers beyond the ones that we made, which we're bringing home. We went and got some chocolates and nougats.
It's been a good trip.
Yeah, it's been very nice, and we've enjoyed doing these videos. Thanks for watching them, and we'll see you when we get home.